Dear students, welcome to online biology classes. So today we are going to be seeing about the spinal cord and cerebrospinal fluid. So according to this nervous system, we are already seen about various types of nerve cell, what is neuron, the structural and functional unit of the nerve cell we are seen in the previous classes. So today we are going to be seeing about one of the main part of central nervous system, that is called brain and spinal cord. So the spinal cord is a part of the central nervous system which is carry the electrical impulse, the nerve impulse in the form of chemical substance to the brain and the brain to the various parts of the body through the another types of the nervous system. Then first one we are going to be seen about some of the animated form, how the nerve impulse are transmitted from the brain and brain to the spinal cord. The spinal cord which was pass on the information through the motor neuron to the various parts of the body. Depending upon the signal which is received from the motor neuron, our sensory organ which is done some kind of works. And next one, this is one of the things, the cerebrospinal fluid. So how that the various parts of the body organ, they are having some of the fluid. We are already known the pericard, the heart which is covered with the pericardial fluid. Like that, the brain also consists of some of the fluid substance that is called cerebrospinal fluid, which was preventing our brain and spinal cord with the various types of injury and some kind of the force which is shown this image. The next one, this is the diagrammatic representation of the central nervous system which is included by the brain and the spinal cord. The red color substance is called brain and the yellow color substance that is called spinal cord. Then this is the 3D dimension, the how the electrical impulse which is passed on from the brain to the spinal cord. Then the spinal cord which is pass on the information with the peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Then this is the overall dimension. The last class we are seen about the brain which is located on the skull which consists of the vertebral column. Inside of the vertebral column the brain is located, and the brain which is covered with three different types of layer that is called meninges. They are in the form of dura mater, arachnoid membrane and pia mater. In this way, the spinal cord also covered with the meninges. They also consist of three kind of layer: dura mater, arachnoid membrane and pia mater. So the brain which was received the signal through the spinal cord or any type of sensory neuron, then the signal is realized by the various parts of the brain, forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. They are consist of different types of parts: cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus, corpora quadrigemina, cerebellum, pons and medulla oblongata. The particular region which was received the signal and the signal which is passed on with the motor neuron. Through that the signal which is reached with the spinal cord, then the spinal cord gray matter and white matter which is sends the signal which is passed on with the particular part of the body. So the continuation of this video, then first one we are seeing about the spinal cord. The spinal cord is a cylindrical structure. It is similar to in the form of cylinder, then which consists of in the layer of lying in the neural canal of the vertebral column. So we are having a vertebral column, then in the neck region. It also covered with the meninges. So I already told you the meninges, that means which consists of three different types of layer or membrane, that is called dura mater, arachnoid membrane and pia mater. Like that, three types of covering is available. It extends from the lower end of the medulla oblongata and first the lumbar vertebrata. So the spinal cord which is connected from the medulla oblongata to from the end of our body in this region, that is called lumbar vertebra. Then the next one, the posterior most region of the spinal cord taps into this thin fibrous thread like a structure is called film terminal. That is called, so we don't have any kind of tail. The tail which is available on this animal except this chimpanzee, then the human being also we don't have any kind of tail. So the end of this region of the spinal cord, that is called film terminal. The next one, so the internally the spinal cord contains a cerebral spinal fluid. The cavity is known as central canal. So this diagram which is shown that, which is already available on your textbook, our spinal cord, the one segment which consists of in the form of H shape, then which is filled with the fluid substance. Because of the reason any kind of movement we are seeing the machineries, we are applying with the grease and oil for the frequent lubricant which was moved in the flexible form. Like that, the spinal cord also in the form of movement, and they are consist of some kind of fluid. The fluid name is called cerebrospinal fluid. The gray matter of the spinal cord is H shape than previous things we are seen. So here we are seen about the dorsal root and the spinal nerve, then dorsal root and ventral root, the gray matter and white matter. The white matter is available in this outer surface and gray matter is available in the inner surface. It is called a posterior region. Then all types of nerve, the root, the dorsal root and the spinal root, which is available in the both side of the spinal cord. Then anterior median sheath is available in the inner side of the middle of the spinal cord. Then by the same time, which was help to transmitting of the electrical impulse in the form of the nerve transmitter. Then the upper end of the H forms is a posterior horn and the lower end forms the anterior. The upper side is a posterior and lower side is a anterior. A bundle of fiber pass into the posterior horn forming a dorsal or effort root. So the effort root which was passed on into the signal into the spinal cord, and the fibers pass outward from the anterior horn forming a ventral or effect root. These two roots are joined in the spinal nerves. So the effect root and effort root which was receiving the signal, and they are bind with the spinal cord in the either side, the lateral side of either side. The white matter is extend and have the bundle of nerve tracks. So the white matter which is available in the central region and they are extend into the tracks. Then this is the diagram which is exposed that the skull, then follow the neck of the skull, they consist of the cranial vertebrate, then thoracic vertebrate, then lumbar vertebrate and sternum. So this lumbar vertebrate we are already seen, then anterior and posterior region. The spinal cord conduct the sensory and motor impulse into the form of brain. So we are already known that the sensory, that means the sense organ, eye, nose, tongue, like that the skin, the sense organ, they are receiving the signal. The signal was detected by the central nervous system. The central nervous system which consists of two type of organ. One is called brain and spinal cord. Then by the means of the brain and spinal cord, the signal is passed on from the sensory organ to motor neuron. So the motor neuron which was detected by the sense, the command which is provided by the brain and the spinal cord by means of the association neuron, which is passed on with the nerve fibers and muscle fiber. Based on that, the contraction process is behind our muscle. We are done some kind of activities. Then it control the reflex action of the body. By the same time, the spinal cord which was controlled by the various kind of reflex action. So there will be every reaction having an opposite reaction, like that. The brain and spinal cord which was control the reflex actions of our body. Then cerebrospinal fluid. So we are known about the various types of fluid. For example, from our nose, we are consist of the lubricant substance that is called mucus. Then by the same time, the eye, which consists of tears, and the entire parts of our body, we are having a lymph-like fluid. Then the heart, which is covered with the pericardium, the pericardial fluid, which is available inside of the pericardium, then which was preventing the heart with various kinds of vibration and shaking and pressure. According to that, the cerebrospinal fluid, which is located and suspended with the brain and the spinal cord, then the brain is suspended in the special fluid environment is called cerebrospinal fluid. The short form of the cerebrospinal fluid, CSF, which was preventing and maintaining the moisture content of the brain and the spinal cord. Then the cerebrospinal fluid is a lymph-like, that means it is a colorless white fluid. It's a watery fluid that surround and protect the brain within the skull. So we know very well. So in our head region we are having a hair, from that region to the skin. Then apart from the skin we are having a skull. The skull which is covered with a bony plate. Then inside of that, that is called a vertebral column. The vertebral column which consists of three type of layer or membrane, that is called meninges. Then from that meninges, the above the region of the meninges which is covered with the cerebrospinal fluid, it is also filled with the central canal of the spinal cord. By the same time, we are seeing in this the mutton or chicken stall. So they are cut the bone. What would be happen? The white color fluid which is comes out inside of the bone, that is called central canal, which is located on the spinal cord. Then fluid, the white color fluid is called cerebrospinal fluid. The diagram representation of the spinal cord and the interior region anatomy of the spinal cord is shown this diagram. Then we are seeing about the very important thing, that is called the functions of the cerebrospinal fluid. So each and every type of organ and each and every type of fluid which is secreted in our body, which was done some kind of special function. According to that, the cerebrospinal fluid also done some kind of important function. They have four different types of function we are going to be studied from this lesson. The first function, it acts as a shock absorbing fluid. That means they are preventing some kind of shocking, that is called sudden vibration, and protect the brain from the damage. So we are fall down or we are touch in our brain with the wall or some other thing, then somebody they are beat in our head. By all these so all these things, our brain is protected with the cerebrospinal fluid when subjected to the sudden jerk. So sudden jerk, unfortunately we can done some kind of jerk which is prevented by the cerebrospinal fluid. Then it supplies a nutrient to the brain. So the brain also consists of the small quantity of blood capillaries and nerve cell. And apart from that, the cerebrospinal fluid which was transmitted or which is supplied with the nutrients to the brain. So brain also one of the organ in our body which recovered the energy. The energy is taken in the form of the cerebrospinal fluids. Then the last 2 points we are going to be seeing this end of this video. First one, the collect and remove the waste from the brain. So we know very well the major excretory organ of our body, that is called skin. Then apart from the skin we are having another two excretory organs are available. One is called skin and another one is called lungs. So the skin which was eliminated with the excess amount of water in the form of sweat and salt, and the lungs which was eliminated in the form of carbon dioxide and gas water vapor, and the kidney was eliminated with urea, uric acid, ammonia and nitrogenous waste material. By the same time, the cerebrospinal fluid which was remove the waste from the brain and which is taken by the blood capillaries which is available on the brain and which is stored with the veins, and they are comes mixed with the blood. From that they are reach on into the kidney. The kidney is filtrated within the form of waste substance. It is also responsible for maintaining the constant pressure inside of the cranium. So they are maintained the cerebrospinal fluid. They are stable amount which was maintaining some kind of pressure in the cranium, and they are prevented by the various kinds of internal and external pressures of the brain. So thank you very much.